Hello friends, TomDay here. Today I want to talk to you guys about a Barbarian build that I'm using in Season 14. It's definitely not the best build that you can have, but it is a lot of fun and you get to one-shot Rift Guardians and pretty much every elite packet. Even, up to, I don't know, even Greater Rift 70, 75, something like that. Probably even higher, I don't know. I've only messed around at Greater Rift 75 because I'm pretty low Paragon and I'm just still starting out. But anyways, let's look at the build first. So we're going to be using Warcry Veteran's Warning. You could also use Impunity. I just have liked Veteran's Warning, giving it a try. It seems pretty good. We're using Seismic Slam Rumble. This is extremely important and your main damage dealing because what you want to do is you want to build up a bunch of Fury and then dump it all at once. And you can see for every point of Fury, you get extra damage. And that'll be something we'll talk about in a bit where you want to have as much plus to Fury as possible. We're going to be using Battle Rage Bloodshed, just more damage. Call of the Ancients together as one. This is just going to give you more defense. You're always going to have Call of the Ancients up because this build uses part of Raycore and Immortal King. Then we're using Furious Charge. This is mostly a mobility skill, excuse me. But since you're going to have all of the runes active because of Raycores, you will get a little bit of damage. You're going to get some, more Fury. And freezing them is quite nice, actually. A little bit of CC as well. And then obviously Wrath of the Berserker because you got to go Super Saiyan. As for passives, I'm using Nerves of Steel. This is because if you do die, you lose your stacks of the Furious Charge, which makes you do more damage because of the 6-piece of Raycores. So this is nice. I don't know. I just like it. You don't have to use it. Using Ruthless, Rampage, Berserker Rage, just all more damage. You could also use Brawler and Animosity. And since this build does have room for a necklace of your choice, I'm using a Hellfire Amulet. This is the one that I got just, I don't know, it was one of the, I made 3 and I got this one. I was pretty happy about it. I gave the Animosity passive. So we'll talk about gear real quick here. We're using, like I said, 5 pieces of Raycores and 3 pieces of IK, and then we're going to be using a Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube to get all of the bonuses. So starting with the helm, you want Strength, Vitality, Crit Chance. Shoulders, these shoulders, I ended up rolling life on them just because I had a low life percentage. You could also do like area damage. You don't really need a more cooldown, but if you felt like you wanted it, you could go that way. It's kind of up to you.
Should I find some new attire?
For the chest piece, Strength, Vitality, all resist is nice. Oh, and I should mention that the IK pieces, you have to use the belt and you have to use the weapon, but you can use any IK piece in whatever other slots you want. Well, not the shoulders, obviously, but so if you have better versions of these items, just use that piece of IK on that one individual spot. I just happen to find good gloves, so that's why I'm using the gloves. Anyways, for amulets, you want physical skills, crit chance, crit damage, or if you can't get that, strength is fine. And like we were talking about with passives, animosity is good. Or any of the other ones that we just talked about. Gloves, strength, vitality, crit chance, crit damage. You might be able to get away with area damage. I just don't have that much life, so I decided to go with vitality. For braces, we're using Braces of Destruction. This increases Seismic Slam damage a lot for the first 5 enemies that it hits. And again, physical, strength, vitality, crit chance. Pretty standard. For belt, I like to have Strength, Vitality, all resists, and then Life per Fury spent. This is really nice, because if you have it on your belt and on your weapon, every time you unload your Seismic Slam, you're basically going to fill your whole life bar up, which, it can be useful from time to time. It'd be really great if you also had plus to Fury on here. For rings, we're using Focus and Restraint. This ring set is so nice for Barbarians, because you're going to have it's pretty easy to get it activated, and it just adds so much. This is not a very good one. It's strength, vitality, only crit damage. You'd rather have crit chance on there as well, but what can you do? Same with this one. This one's actually pretty nice. For pants, strength, vitality, all resists. Boots, strength, vitality, armor. And I have seismic slam damage on here. You could switch out the armor for all resists. Mine just happened to roll with fire resist, so what can you do, For the weapon, we're using IKs. You would want strength, maybe life per fury spent. I have not found a Ramaldani's gift, so I had to re-roll what I would have as like the 10% more damage into a socket just to get the emerald in there. But it's fine. You can see that even with low damage, I'll show you in a second in the video, or like in the rift, but you'll be one-shotting everything even with super low base damage. As for gems, I have 2 diamonds in here and some strength. You could go all diamonds, all strength. It doesn't, whatever you feel is best. Just kind of go with what you think, especially since I'm not doing this in greater rifts, like really high level greater rifts, so you don't have to worry too much about survivability. You're not going to have a problem in T13. And then for legendary gems, I was using Esoteric's Alteration because I was finding myself dying a little more than I wanted to. It's really unnecessary if you're not reckless, but I play recklessly, so what can you do? I said what can you do like 3 times now. Sounds kind of stupid in my head. Anyways, we have Bane of the Trapped, just a staple gem in most builds. And then I'm using Bane of the Powerful because you'll kill enough elite packs where it'll always be up. And over in the cube, here we go. We're using Fury of the Vanished Peak. This is because it buffs Seismic Slam. Costs less, and you get more damage. And the costing less is nice because then, since you're unloading all of your Fury, it's awesome. It's a really great combination. At least I'm pretty sure it works that way. Sorry if I'm wrong. Using Ancient Parthan Defenders because, again, survivability. It's nice, especially if you are trying to do Greater Rifts. I did a Greater Rift 75, I want to say, for the Conquest. With this build, no problem, because when you're stunning everything with charge, so when you're charging into packs, you're gonna have a ton of extra toughness. And then Ring of Royal Grandeur, obviously, because we want to complete the sets. In Paragon, you absolutely want movement speed, and you absolutely want maximum fury. And to talk about the boots a bit, I don't like getting movement speed on boots if I can avoid it, because that stat that you can usually get on boots, even in other builds, is just spending the 20 or the 50 points of Paragon for movement speed. It's absolutely worth it to get to offset like the armor or the resistance or maybe damage from a skill. And again, 50 fury, that's insane. It's so much damage. So you definitely want that. And the rest can go into strength. Offense, cooldown reduction. So again, since I've sometimes been playing a little recklessly, I'll run out of charges. Like if you charge into 2 enemies or if you just charge wildly, you sometimes will run out of charges, right? And so I liked having a little more cooldown just to help me out. Most people will probably be Paragon 600 where it won't matter, you can get all 3. But since it's still early, well, it's not really early in the season, but it's early for me. Anyways, I needed more crit hit damage than crit chance because you do kind of want like a 10-to-1 ratio of every 1 point of critical hit chance, you have 10% critical hit damage. That's just kind of depending on what you think is best for you. And then you want to get all resists, life, armor, and then life regen last. And here, area damage is good, resource cost reduction, life per hit, gold fine. This doesn't really matter too much. The area damage is the only one that's actually important. 2 things I forgot to mention is that you definitely want to try to get maximum fury on your weapon. That's just more fury, more damage, all that jazz. And I want to talk a little bit about how the set interaction works. The only thing that you really have to pay attention to is the 6th piece of Ray Cores, and that's when you charge. So if you charge into things, see how every time you charge, you get a stack, right? This counter here. And when you use your Fury spending attack, like Seismic Slam, it uses 5 charges. Now I think this charges stack up, I want to say it goes to like 99 or something, maybe even more, I'm not really sure. You probably won't ever get that high unless you try to on purpose. Anyways, and this is where you get all of your damage from, because for each stack, you get 2,800 damage, right? So that's the only thing to pay attention to, is that if you find yourself having trouble killing an enemy, it might be because you had 7 stacks and you Seismic Slam, then you charge 1 more time and you Seismic Slam again, and you don't have the full 5 stack damage that you were looking for. So just be aware of that. If sometimes it feels like you're killing things really, really fast, and then other times like, oh, why did that take 2 or 3 slams? Or, probably just 2, even with only 1 or 2 charges. But yeah, just keep that in mind when you're thinking about it. And just to be clear, you don't need a Hellfire Amulet. You don't need the 5th passive. I was using this Traveler's Pledge. I know it's a really nice Traveler's Pledge. It doesn't have to be this perfect of rules. You'll still be able to absolutely demolish T13 and up to Greater Rift 75 without even breaking a sweat. You're not going to have any problems. Maybe you'll die once or twice, but you'll easily clear the Rift Guardian because you're going to kill it in 1 Seismic Slam. It's in the build. It's so much fun. So how the skill works is that you dump all the fury, and then it makes this like shudder effect into the ground. Here, I'll show you what. It looks really cool, actually. And you see like the little aftershocks. Those do a ton of damage, and I love it because it's like your Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, where you slam it on the ground, and then you just walk away, and the enemies are coming at you still, and then they blow up a second later. It's so much fun. I really do enjoy the build quite a bit. So here, check out this Greater Rift. I guess I'll just do a T13 because that's really what I've been playing it on. And I hope you enjoy the build. Talk to you guys later.